Now, Helen McCrory is a wanted woman. Whether it's in Harry Potter or James Bond, she is in constant demand on screen. And she's really made her mark as an irreverent Cherie Blair in The Queen, you may remember that. Her latest role, however, is in the atmospheric new BBC series Peaky Blinders. Named for a Birmingham gang who hid lethal blades in the peaks of their caps. It's set in 1919, and McCrory plays a tough matriarch, usurped by the return of the men from the Great War. When we met this week, Helen McCrory told me how the series explores the true stories of how many brutalised soldiers turned to crime when they got back home from Flanders.
And what would happen to these men when they came back? They thought they were going to be cheered as heroes, and of course they weren't, and with no real guidance, because now no longer people believed necessarily in the church and the government. Everything from above was being questioned by the working class for the first time, and people wanted a piece of the action.
And one of the things that makes this unusual, I think, this piece, is that it's not simply the violent men. This is a very, very violent family. And you are, of course, the very scary matriarch.
I'm the very scary matriarch, yeah. Aunt Polly, who's been running the gang for 4 years before the three brothers come back.
Look at the gun. Recognise it? Get up off your ass, you mum pink pig.
What the did you do that for?
The police at the time were called out more to break up women fighting in the streets than men. I mean, they were running the households, they were running the purse strings.
Finn was playing with this afternoon by the cut. It was loaded.
It must have fell out my pocket.
He said he found it on the sideboard of the betting shop, with bullets in it.
I must have been drunk.
When are you not drunk?
When it comes to the opening of this piece, it looks like the beginning of a western, a very dark western, or possibly a Chicago gangster film.
Yes, and so the men are more beautiful, the horses are bigger, the women are wilder. It's almost a childlike gleam on it. And this was a decision that Otto Bathurst, our director, when he first looked at it, decided that instead of doing the... we have a fantastic tradition in this country, through Cares, of that sort of gritty realism, of actually doing something that was very, very beautiful, very, very cinematic.
Of all the other roles, less than gritty realism perhaps, but certainly realism, a lot of people will remember you as Cherie Blair, of course.
Couple of other things. It's ma'am as in ham, not ma'am as in farm. And when you're in the presence, at no point must you show your back.
The presence?
Yes, sir. That's what it's called when you're in Her Majesty's company.
Did you feel any sense of empathy towards Cherie Blair after running that? Because she's a controversial woman.
I had a huge sense of empathy. I mean, the first time when we did, I played her twice. The first time when I played her in The Queen, he was still in number 10, and so she was very silent. So I studied her as David Attenborough studies a chimp. I would just watch these tiny little fragments you'd seen and started to study her, you know, body language and why she does, you know.
Yes.
You realise because she automatically wants to answer. I mean, obviously she's a top barrister. She knows exactly what she feels, but she would, you know, turn her, the smile, the sort of nervous smile, which is, well, it wasn't what I would say, sort of came about. And I started looking at her press, and it was appalling how she was attacked.
She was attacked very, very
viciously.
savagely.
And
did you ever meet her and talk to her before you reprised the role?
I did. She came to see a play at the Almeida that my husband and I were in, and I remember coming out to the bar and thinking, it's terribly quiet. There doesn't seem to be anybody here except for a few policemen and a little lady sitting in the corner, and of course the little lady was Cherie Blair. And she was very pretty, quick to smile, quick to laugh, very bright, and I liked her very much.
Yes, you mentioned your husband. We're getting another series of Homeland, I think, before long.
Yeah.
Has he seen Peaky Blinders yet?
No.
He hasn't. And you haven't seen the new Homeland either. You're quite cool with each other about your big roles.
I know. Well, I haven't actually seen all of the old Homeland, actually.
Dear me.
I know. Well, because it's really distressing. People sort of say, oh, is that because, you know, there's sort of, you know, love scenes and everything. But it's like, well, no, it's not so much the love scene. It's when, you know, he's bashed to death on the floor and urinated on by a guard. That's the bit I have a problem when I'm watching your husband doing that.
Of course.
It's disturbing, however much he just says, but, you know, it's acting.
And your name is being yoked together again around the 007 brand. I mean, you had Skyfall, which must have been a very exciting thing to do. I mean,
it was wonderful.
Great
Sam phoned me up at home and said, Sam Mendes, the director, and said, well, I'm doing Bond. And of course I'm thinking, this is it. It's the first female Bond. They've come to me at last.
At last.
Thank God. My prayers are answered. And said, you know, it's, I said, oh, are you? He said, yes. Haven't you heard? I was like, oh, no, I don't, of course I knew. And he said, well, you know, I'd like to send you the script, and it's a tiny, tiny part, but I was just like, listen, I don't care. If the parts, there's a table for 2, I'll be in there. I can call myself a Bond girl.
Bond girl, yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Your husband has been suggested as the next 007 as well.
Mainly by me.
Mainly by you, OK.
I think he'd be, he's definitely got a killer instinct.
Big pecs to follow, mind you.
Big pecs to follow.
Yes,
I know, he'd be
Daniel
down at the
Craig
gym.
has got serious pecs.
I know. He sort of put Ursula Andrews in the shadows when he came out of the water, didn't he?
He certainly did,
He turned many a man that night of the cinema. Yeah.
Yes. Finally, can I ask you about the Harry Potter franchise? Because you were in the last 3. First time your children perhaps have really understood what you're doing?
My children still haven't seen Harry Potter, have just been introduced to the fact that Damien and I are actors. I was really disappointed. They really wanted me to be a vet and him to be a fireman. So I don't think that they are very interested.
But one day they will know
7.
you through Harry Potter, presumably, because every other child does.
Well, yes, but they will, but nobody ever recognises me. No. I mean, even when I come off a stage. You know, when I was working with Sam, we came down, and Lauren Bacall is standing there and said, you know, I'd just like to say that you're absolutely fantastic, and that is wonderful. And I said, well, thank you very much, and said, I just loved all your stuff. I mean, I loved you in Breaking the Waves. And I said, no, that's Emily. She plays the other part. I'm Helen. I play Helena. And she said, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. And I said, it doesn't matter. Ever since Philadelphia Story, Miss Hepburn, I've always wanted to meet you. And she was like, ha, you're a dame. We're going out. So, you know, I'm never recognised in anything, which just suits me fine.